That really wasn't a consideration at all when deciding to do NASCAR racing for the Mac. We hadn't yet had any feedback on the sales performance of IndyCar racing when we decided to do NASCAR racing. So that wasn't a factor at all. We definitely would have done NASCAR racing for the Mac no matter how well IndyCar racing did, because it was such a huge hit on the PC. It just made sense to do it. The Mac version of NASCAR racing has quite a bit of features that you won't find in the DOS version. The first thing that comes to mind is the '96 season. It's all based on the '96 season, cars and drivers all updated and everything. And then another feature that we push a lot that you can't do with the PC side is speech recognition. You can speak commands to your pit crew just like in IndyCar 2. And that's really helpful because, of course, you don't want to have to look down at your keyboard and do keyboard commands while you're trying to drive at 200 miles an hour. And another thing is network play. You can play head-to-head against someone over a network, including modem play, as in the DOS version. And there are other enhancements that were found in IndyCar Racing 2, like spin recovery for when you're getting a spin out and it'll point you in the right direction, and also like random mechanical breakdowns of your car, which that feature wasn't found in the DOS version, and also other little things like being able to save multiple games and multiple championship seasons and stuff, which was a limitation of the DOS version. And the paint kit that comes with NASCAR Racing for the Mac is much nicer than the original DOS version. The one in the DOS version was low res, and this one is nice and high res, has a much nicer interface, easier to use, easier to manipulate car files and things like that. So that's a much nicer feature. And the biggest thing to really talk about is the Macintosh interface overall. In the DOS version of the game, it was really tough to get around. You had to navigate through a lot of screens, a lot of hierarchical menus and stuff, and this flattens it out to just a few screens where you can change a lot of data quickly and easily, and it's much easier to save car setups and add comments to them and things like that. So that's notably much nicer than the DOS version. Factors.
Yeah, I think the Mac's a pretty good platform for games in general. You got good hardware, everything's integrated right out of the box, so you don't have to worry about sound cards, video cards, compatibility problems. In terms of limiting factors, it's not like DOS where you have a minimal operating system. You've got a operating system that's pretty pervasive, which can be problems at times, and part of the operating system as of now in 7.5 up to 7.5.5 isn't all native PowerPC code, so some of the OS runs a little bit slower than maybe it should. Virtual memory can be a problem compared to Wintel machines. Virtual memory working better in Win95 than it does on the Mac OS, so RAM can be a problem. But yeah, I think the Mac's getting there.
NASCAR Racing so great is the realism and the fact that it's a simulation and not an arcade game. This is definitely not an arcade game. This is a realistic, in-depth simulation of driving on the real NASCAR circuit. The physics are very realistic. The way your car handles is just like in real life. You have a ton of options in the garage that you can change that are going to affect your car, how it handles, and you're racing on real NASCAR tracks against real NASCAR drivers. You're up racing door to door against Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon and Terry Labonte, and there's nothing like it. End of answer. That does depend somewhat on how well NASCAR racing does for the Macintosh. If it's a big hit, that will definitely have an effect on our decision making for, as for what to do next. The fact that we've been able to do a couple of great racing sims successfully for the Macintosh does prove something, and does, it is something to show to the people that make these decisions. And it's also tied into cost and effort, as is most everything. We develop games. We're currently developing games for the DOS platform and also for Win95. And while porting or co-developing a DOS game may be more expensive and less likely to be done, the fact that we're turning more towards Win95 and doing games for Win95 could be a good thing for Macintosh game development, because the effort and costs involved in either porting or co-developing, simultaneously developing a title for the Mac, is much more reasonable, and it's much more likely to get approved.